Yesterday I got to give a speech at a company. I can't tell you their name. It's a multinational GSM company. I can just give you a little hint. It begins with the letter V. And they asked me to talk to a group of middle managers, 90 of them, on how you motivate people. What are the tricks? What are the hacks? What can you do to get your people, your staff, to do what they're supposed to do? And I actually like challenges like that because I'm an economist, and in economics is really a lot about behavior and how you get people to do things that you want them to do. And so I told them a little bit about what's going on here tonight and what will happen a week from here or a week from tomorrow. And that is, don't even think about motivating people until you figure out how to motivate yourself. Because life is all about credibility, and people who are looking to get you to do something that they themselves are not capable of are simply people you don't look up to. And years ago, I kind of came up with a plan. I like these acronyms, short acronyms, and I called it G cubed. And the first G stands for you got to grab a skill. And for us in this room, obviously one of those skills is public speaking, but it can be playing golf, it can be tennis, it can be playing a board game. I spend a lot of time with a lot of interesting people and a lot of uninteresting people. And it amazes me how many times people can get out of bed in the morning and not be excited about anything. A few years ago, I was asked to work with a professor at the university, technical university. He had come back after working 25 years in Germany. He was a smart guy, did a lot of research, and he had worked now for 2 years in Hungary, and he needed to defend all his work in front of his Hungarian fellow professors, hold a presentation, and if they accepted, if they all nodded their head and said, this guy is good, then he would be allowed to enter into that fellowship, whatever it was, at the university. So it's a Thursday morning. He's got to give his speech or his presentation the following Tuesday. So I lock myself in a room with him, and he goes through his presentation, 45-minute presentation, and I'm writing notes. And one page, another page, another page. And when we get to the end, I realized the way you don't change people is give them 50 things to do. So I took my list, and I went from 50 to 3. And so I said, do you really want the feedback? He said, I do. And I said, okay, the first thing you need to do is you need to get excited about your topic. And he said, I can't get excited about my topic. I said, okay, then the second thing you need to do is you need to call someone and tell them you're not going to be there on Tuesday. Because if you're not able to get excited about your topic, how in the world do you expect anybody else to? And so, Benson, when I hear your speech or I hear some of the speeches tonight about teachers that are having a difficult time motivating the kids, my kids are in school. And it forever surprises me that we continue to have the same problem. The subjects my kids hate are the teachers that they do not like. And it just goes on year after year. I complained once. I was at a parent-teacher conference or meeting one night. And I asked the teacher, I said, why all these kids are having problems with this one teacher? Why don't you do something about it? She says, because that person has only 2 more years before they retire. And I said, that's great. That's 60 kids times 2. That's 120 more lives that teacher will ruin. So the first thing you need to do is you need to grab a skill. Now that's the easy part because a lot of people want to do things. But the next thing you need to do is you need to get good at it. And that means you got to do the things that most people don't want to do. That means you got to do the hard work. That means you got to get up in the morning and come to class when you don't want to. I run in the morning. I exercise. I'm maniacal about exercise. Do not misunderstand that to mean I love to exercise. I don't. If I ask for an honest show of hands on how many people like to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and run, I would see as many hands as I see now. Okay, Fetty is 1, 2, 3 other. Yeah, you guys are trouble. Okay, 4. Okay. There's something on this side of the room. Don't know what you guys did, Rick, but it's on this side of the room. Okay, in the future, charge more if you're just a friendly. I'm an economist looking for a way to make money. So I don't like that. But I don't ever ask myself the question, do I want to get up and run? Because I know what the answer is. So I don't ask the question. I just do it. And the people you saw today on stage, and then there are people in the last group like Gubby who's sitting here, and Freddie, bless your heart, would come to class even when they didn't feel like it. Okay, you felt like it, bless you. That's that side of the room again. But you know, when you start going, and you just do it, and you don't look for, because if you do it with feeling, if that's all that dictates what you do in your life is what you feel like it, then you're not going very far. So you got to figure out a way to get good at it. And so once you start to get good at it, and you feel like you can do this, and you can do it with some amount of self-confidence, you don't have to be perfect. You just feel like you're good at it or getting good at it. Then comes the magical part, and Andras touched on this. And that's the last G, and that's giving it away. You got to figure a way, and it's so easy in this world today because there's so many people in trouble, that you take the skill that you acquired and you share it with those who never had that chance. We heard that today. Fede, you talked about that in your speech, about giving it to people who never had the chance. That's what took us into jail. Those guys had horrible backgrounds. And we don't care why they're there. We're certainly not there arguing that they shouldn't spend as much time as they do. But you start to see what happened, what kind of an effect the parent had on their child. And so we were able to go in there, and it didn't take long. It took sometimes 3 or 4 sessions. And you know, you can tell when a person's confidence changes because the way they hold their bodies, their chest would go out. And here's a guy in these ugly clothes, been in there for 15 years. And after 4 times, he stands up, his chest's out, and he gives a speech that we're amazed at. And I am convinced that so many of us could benefit by simply reaching out and sharing the gifts that we have. That's what got me where I am, because I had people who would take the time and effort to say, you know what, if you're young and you're kind of lost, but I'll tell you what, let me give you some attention. And so when I see this and I hear these efforts, and I have nothing to do with the orphanage, would like to, but I'm so touched by people who are saying, you know what, I've gotten something now and I want to share it. And so I encourage everybody. I'm not saying public speaking is your thing. If it is, great, we'll help you. But whatever it may be, figure out a way to do it and give it back. Because we all talk about living in a better world, but it's what a phrase they use in the United States called Monday morning quarterback. The person, you know, all the football games happen on Sunday, and on Monday morning they're sitting in the chair and they're telling everybody what the team should have done. And Hungary, maybe because of its soccer culture, has a lot of people like this who sit back and just feel like their job in life is to tell you what you should have done. Probably you have relatives like this. I do. But I don't want people telling me. I want people showing me. I want somebody to grab the hand of a child and walk them across that path. Because you know, like Ati started off, most people hate this. This is a really fearful thing for most people. You don't snap your fingers. It's not, you can't rationally justify how you get over your fear. You get over your fear by doing it and then giving it away. So we are excited. I'm certainly excited about what is happening. There's another group that will graduate from here, or in here, a week from tomorrow. They're kids. Freddie was one of our best graduates last year. And there will be 11 kids between the ages of 13 and 19 who will be on the same stage. Most of them have Hungarian as their first language. Most of them were scared to death. In fact, I was telling someone earlier, I was afraid some of the mothers would call me because every time their daughters would go home from the class, their sweaters would be all deformed because they'd get up to speak and they'd be pulling this down. As, you know, have you ever seen that as a nervous habit? People just keep pulling it down. And then they stay with it and the group supports them and all of a sudden they get it. And something magical, and that word has been used before, is magical. So I encourage all of you to think through, you don't have to do it now, maybe tomorrow. Think about what is that skill that you could grab that is close to your heart. Like Kata, she talks about, she finally, after having that anger against her father, he finally realizes that the inside, hidden inside her soul is that desire to speak and share her thoughts. And then she takes the first step and does something about it. So what's that skill that you can become so good at that you're qualified to give it to other people? I don't believe that this country will ever fix itself top down. I think this country and every other country will fix itself from the bottom up. We've got enough people who know how to pass things on. And whether it's Bence's speech about someone who takes care of the whole body or the whole person, we've seen enough examples. I encourage each and every one of you, ask yourself that question. What is that skill that I can be so good at that I can add value to somebody else's life? And if we start doing it in greater numbers, I promise you that we will notice, just like we do in the speakers, 2, 3, 4, and they know what they were like just yesterday and a week ago. You will be surprised at what we can do and what difference we can make in this country. I invite you to join all of us in the revolution we're trying to start from the bottom up. Thank you.